So I'm gonna let y'all know in our conversation today, it might get a little bit uncomfortable. We about to challenge all of our notions, our widely held denominational constructs, some of our sacred practices, as it relates to this idea of resting. So, what's up, everybody? Worship and Word. Well, this Worship and Word conversations. I just didn't put the logo up, but Worship and Word conversations.
I thought I saw it. You know what? It was on the
brand on the intro. Panel.
Yeah.
So we here Saturday afternoon, Sabbath afternoon conversation. We're gonna get it in today, but y'all got it in last night. Chris, man, how you feeling?
Listen, the Worship and Word community was lit last night, man.
Yeah.
You missed out.
I was trying to live it up in the comments.
I was like, hey, no, you were part of the litness though, yeah, because you definitely were chiming in. Man, it was a blessing to have Pat Graham on, and the word that he dropped was. It was simple. I think it was Teresa was like, yo, he just dropped the word in like 2 seconds. You know? But it was so needed. Needed. Yeah. Sometimes it's just the simplicity of understanding you are the vessel, man. And as that vessel, God is wanting to make some things happen, not just through, but with you, you know? Like that's just, yeah. Anyway, it was great.
I think that's a perfect tie-in to actually what we're talking about today is like, how do we give these vessels that we are supposed to work with an actual rest?
Yeah.
Because, it's going to get uncomfortable today, but in a good way as Aaron checking in with us, still fresh off of the
birthday weekend.
Celebratory jump off. So, thanks for checking in. Carmella's back with us.
Hey.
Cerise, always in the place. Good afternoon. Pam is in the place, y'all. Hazel and Pam said last night was fire. So, man, I was like, so this is what it's like to be in the comments for an extended period. It was weird because Facebook sometimes it was posting as me, and then sometimes it was posting as Worship and Word. I was like, what's going on with the app?
It's, in the beginning, I was so caught up. Like I wasn't looking at no comments. I was just like, I was like, oh, hold on, wait a minute, producer, hold on, let me get these things up. So, oh man, Pamela Nichols, good afternoon to you as well. Good to see everybody coming back. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
After your Friday night and you come back.
Yeah.
And you can still see, have the same
people.
Still see people. The same people. Yeah. So cool.
You realize in like production how and we both worked in production in high school, in college and grad.
Feels like
feels like high school. Like the producers, the technical directors, the people in the other room doing the graphics in a totally different room, clicking and pressing buttons that you don't even see.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, it's a lot to pay attention to.
Yeah.
As things are going on. So, the software makes us seem, we bring that host producer element into one, but it's a lot to keep up with. I think I just got ADD, so I can
it's a
computer. I can watch my TV screen.
It's a gift.
Cameras over here. I'm looking at my phone. The laugh track is over here. like
Pat was playing while he was. I was like, I don't know how y'all. Listen, man, I'm one dimensional. Shout out to Rosa. What's going on? So, backstory. We I think it was the Canada Youth Challenge way back in 2005. Literature evangelism. Yeah, man. And connected
years ago,
bruh.
17 years ago.
I was like, what was I? I was like sophomore at Andrews, I think. Yeah, we over here knocking on doors, selling books. So it's so cool. Like I don't think I've seen Rosa. I don't think I've seen Rosa. Yeah, since that time.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Anyway, thanks, Cerise. Thanks. We tried.
Yeah.
We tried.
Yeah.
Aaron said the organ. Listen.
It was the organ for me. I'm gonna have to program a sound into. I got options. I can program a sound in here. I'm gonna put the organ
have Pat get you some samples, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Some samples.
Yo, Chris, I want in the comment section, Worship and Word family. Did you hear about that app that was going around called Hoop Triggers?
I haven't heard about that.
So Hoop Triggers is I think it's a couple of years old now. It was designed for pastors who did not have a band to back them up. It was the actual sounds of the a band. It was the organ. It was the hi-hat. So when you preached, you could hit a
wow.
Wow. I'm gonna find a Hoop Triggers YouTube video. Matter of fact, I'm gonna send you the link to download the app. So you have your own Hoop Triggers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised, but wow. Yeah. I mean, that's the era that we're living in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you gotta do it all or at least fake it. Yo, speaking of laughing at things that happen, there's a video going around where it's just older too. A guy's preaching in his bedroom, like he is going hard in his bedroom. He's going to preach, a suit on, and somebody comes to the door and was like, "Yo, you need to take this trash out." Interrupt his whole sermon flow. You need to take this trash out. Like, man, the outtakes of trying to do this thing in a virtual space, man. I got a couple of outtakes too.
Do you think that do you think church will get back to, like, when things get back to quote unquote normal? That is not even, but are people going to go back preaching the same? And I don't know. What do you think? I think there are different camps right now.
Man, I think we're going to make a valiant attempt to go back to the way things were before. Mm-hmm. It's not going to work. One, because the apprehension, because of the way we've been socialized now, the apprehension of getting everybody back in the same building. I mean, our church, last church I pastored on the weekends, man, we're like, 450 in the church on a Saturday. And it's like, some of us are like, whoa, 450 people in one spot. I don't know. I can't. So some people are going to go back. Some people are going to be apprehensive. It's not going to be the same. I think we're going to embrace, at least in the professional development and training and speaking world.
Yeah.
We're embracing this idea of hybrid, where it will be people in person and people on their devices, and how to embrace both audiences, not just speaking to your in-person audience with your virtual audience watching, but how you do a full integration. So
yeah, I think a hybrid is also going to be, we were just, me and my sister were just saying, so like our church. Oh, you found it. You found Hoop Triggers. Just the name, so we were talking. So like our church, we have like the children's corner is like really blown out into an actual virtual experience from the children's ministry, Tap Town Kids, right?
Yeah.
Now it's interesting because there are other churches that have that same kind of moniker going. Like Oakwood has Oaktown, and down here Bethany, they've got theirs. And so it's like this wouldn't have really happened if the pandemic didn't occur, right? Yeah. The explosion of being more intentional and reaching, like even to the point of, I mean, even just I don't know. It's just interesting how we are more intentional with making sure, even down to the marketing, reaching individuals online. I don't think it would have happened if the building was still the central place.
Yeah.
It really forced us to be creative and to really kind of reach out of the comfort zone. So I think hybrid has to be, because if it goes back to normal, that means that all of the stuff that we've been doing for the last year,
it go poof. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, man, just a lot of discussions need to be had, and hopefully they're being had now in terms of strategy and not just, we'll be back in the church. Let's leave. I mean, many of our churches have ministries have connected to audiences we would have never been connected to before. And it would be a disservice just to leave that new. I mean, the interweb is the greatest evangelistic field right now, y'all. Forget geographic windows and all of that. The interweb is the greatest evangelistic field. And how, as you've been in that space, how do you remain in that space, even though there'll be an in-person element to what some of us are doing? So
Hey, Aaron said we're virtual now. Ready Player One. If you haven't seen the movie, y'all go on. So Greg, okay. So Pastor Brooks,
yeah.
Listen, does God want us to go back, or has this gone on long enough to change our approach? You know what? I think of now. I'm not synonymizing the pandemic with the explosion of the early church through Pentecost.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do think that there were still two light on the hill, salt of the earth approaches to ministry, and one you could maybe even consider was a little bit more antiquated, right?
Yeah.
Like, man, how come everybody couldn't be a Paul? Like Paul was about that, but not everybody was, right? They were still having discussions about circumcision being a thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that even if we look in the New Testament, it was hybrid. Mm-hmm. God was still gracious. God was still merciful for even those that weren't, doing the go ye. There were, you feel me? Like, So I think that even then, we who see the vision or have accepted, or re-accepted perhaps, or re-embraced the call to extend extend the gospel through, I can't even say through new ways. People have been using the interwebs. It's just us catching up, right? I think that we also still though need to be patient and gracious. Maybe that's not the word, for those who are like, nah, this is how I know it. This is how I live it. This is how I'll preach it. And you're not gonna find me on Instagram. Cool.
Yeah.
I think that there has to be, like you said, there will be a hybrid. It has to be, right? Because it's messy. I think we talked about that last night. Salvation is a messy, not for us, right? It's a messy process. Even in the Old Testament, the visual, the optics of salvation in the Old Testament wasn't clean.
No,
it was. So that being said, yeah.
I mean, I think there's a reason, infomercials still have the call now.
And them things are crusty, but they were.
They still have the call now joint, So they're saying there's a segment that we don't want to get away from, or even when we think of modern or more the younger generation.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do want to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
We put that blanket everybody wants.
Yeah.
Remember how they said, malls are going to go completely die off because people only want to stay at home. That's not exactly true.
I still like going to the mall. Well, pre-COVID, but yeah.
People still want a measure of socialization. Yeah. Now, what's happening is we're finding that malls aren't pivoting. Oh, that's a perfect example. They're not pivoting to meet the current construct. They're just saying, let's just slap stores in a space and people will be there. The perspective has to change, and
that's why Toys R Us died.
Man, listen, they did not create an experience.
Yeah, just a warehouse. And Amazon was like, well, we the warehouse of warehouses. They don't need to come to y'all. They messed up. Hey, listen, Pete,
listen. And when you look at the Old Testament, the Hebrew scriptures, the tabernacle, that whole setup was a multi-sensory experience.
Mm-hmm.
Multi-sensory, something to smell, taste, touch, hear. It was all involved in that worship practice and how we bring a lot of that, because we kind of focus on what we hear, and a little bit of what we see, and it's kind of over after.
Hey, God couldn't even help it in the New Testament. He had to blow on them. He had to smell his breath before he left, so that when the Spirit came, he said, receive that right quick. Like, he's such a kinesthetic God, man. Like you're multi-sensory. You better believe that when the Spirit hit, they couldn't but forget the Middle Eastern breath of Jesus blowing on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, absolutely. Man. Yeah.
Quick plug for this before we jump into our topic today. If you have not watched The Chosen on PureFlix, you're missing out. You're missing out. If you haven't watched The Chosen on PureFlix, you are absolutely positively missing out. That's all I'm gonna say. Look it up for yourself. You can't use my PureFlix account. All right. The Chosen on PureFlix.
Oh, wait, hold on. Pete, they actually have an app now.
Ooh.
And it's free.
Ooh.
It's free, like free, because it's crowdsourced. So if you all download the app, like The Chosen app.
The Chosen app.
Come on. So y'all don't even got to subscribe no more.
And you've got to subscribe to PureFlix. It's the Chosen app. Wow, I'm about to cancel PureFlix and just
go ahead.
The Chosen app. If somebody could drop that in the comment section, if you've watched The Chosen, if you're familiar with the app, somebody do some quick research, Google, and drop that in the comment section for us. All right, we're about to transition real quick to this conversation about resting. But Pastor Greg says, well, we preach all the time that God had to take Egypt out of the Israelites. Is there a parallel? Okay. But I do agree it needs to be a hybrid. But more importantly, the approach or focus can't be on the building. Yeah, it's got to be about obedience to God. And
absolutely.
When we look at Matthew 28,
yeah.
Jesus is like, yo, I need you to go to where the people are. I think that's physically and virtually.
Go ye therefore, not come ye herewith.
Where are they at? Where are they at? So. Where they at? All right, so man, we're gonna talk about resting today, y'all. Resting, and for our denominational construct, for the Adventist faith community, this idea of rest is really, really huge with the whole Sabbath commandment. And even if you're not part of the Adventist faith tradition, this idea of rest, relaxation, rejuvenation is for the most part, connected to many religious conversations. So I stumbled upon this TED Talk and I sent it to Chris, TED Talk by Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith, medical doctor. And I was like, man, Chris, I can't shake this thing, man. This is really reframing my whole notion of what it means to rest. And I think in some ways we got it wrong, or maybe not wrong. Maybe we have it incomplete. So our conversation today, we're going to talk about the 7 types of rest and how this applies to our personal lives, our faith traditions. What do we see the parallels in this from scripture, and how can we apply it? So I'm going to start off with this question. Here's the question. What does resting look like for you?
That right there.
All right. Drop that in the comment section. When you think about resting, what does that look like for you? The whole idea, the whole notion of resting. What does that look like for you? So Chris, you was like, yeah, that was it right there?
Yeah, right there. Give me my memory pillow. That right there.
So for you, it's like, all right, cool. I need to rest. Translation, I'm gonna need to take a nap.
Knock me out. Take me out. Take me out. I want to think. I want to see. Yeah. Take me out.
Yeah. Carmilla says for her, rest from work. When she's talking about rest from troubles, rest from anxiety, rest from busyness, rest from stress.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think for a lot of us, man, for me, my idea is it's nappish. It's got some nap leaning tendencies. When I
that sounds so like
I gotta lean toward this. I gotta take a nap. Cerise know what I'm talking about.
Not using brain power for so yeah. Okay. The reason why I just need to be unconscious is because there can be a level of guilt when I'm still up. Like, man, you know what? You really shouldn't be unless I declare I'm taking the day.
Okay. Yeah.
But even then, I'll take the day still in the workspace to almost have a pseudo. I'm here.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Like it's so messy. So yeah, God got to take me out. Take me out for a couple.
Yo, man, talk about the guilt just a little bit more, because I think this aligns with how we're going to frame up the quotes from the first part of that TED Talk.
Yeah, it ties to Dr. Sandra's reference to our burnout culture. Right?
Yeah.
If you're not hustling, if you're not grinding, if your productivity isn't on a 12 out of a scale from 1 to 10, then you're just not, right? You're not doing what you're supposed to do, especially if you know what your purpose is. If you haven't maximized that, then you're not living.
Like Warrior Nation.
It's like, okay, so now when you choose not on a Saturday, or perhaps on a Sunday, right? Whatever the day is for your Sabbath, where you are just like this, because it's been ingrained in you, or maybe it's something that you've chosen, or whatever the case is, but you're used to a particular period of time where you know it's off limits. If anytime you do anything in between that, you feel as if you have betrayed, or you have, I would use the word betrayed, not just yourself, but the God of rest. You know, it's almost as if I can't get all the rest done in this particular time period, then it's over. And so there's so many different aspects. There's the cultural aspect, right? Are you working enough? If you're burnt out, that means that you really have done work.
That's bad.
Right. Well, people are like, oh man, I'm so tired. Like we know people. I think I've done it myself. Where if you can say that, man, I'm just, you know, then that means, I did something. I did something that was worth me being tired about. But not really. Sometimes you're tired because you haven't rested. Right. But then there's a spiritual aspect too, right? Where you feel as if, well, okay, burnout culture is one thing, but spiritually, I'm supposed to be calm. I'm supposed to just forget about, or at least put to rest certain secular activities and things that will, you know, get me, you know. And so it's like, okay, if I don't do that in this way, because this is the way that I was taught, or this is the way that I understood what rest meant, then there's also guilt there as well. So now you're stuck, and it's like, and if I don't get it in this particular period of time, then and for me, for the longest, man, resting more than I quote unquote needed to, because it's subjective, would be synonymous with being lazy. Well, you know how many people tell me that, you know, I work too much, or I overwork, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? I'm not doing enough. Like even to this day, I still feel like, are you doing enough? Because when you compare yourself to other people, like, and so, man, the guilt thing is huge for me, which is why it's I can be in bed and still be up. That's like I got to be knocked. If I have not, and she's going to talk about this, I believe, right? Even with sleeping, sometimes even just sleeping isn't enough.
Oh yeah,
right.
We're about to get into
it. So. That's that piece on the guilt piece, man.
Bro, my Sabbath used to be Monday. I ain't even gonna lie.
Listen.
Sabbath used to be Monday, because on Saturday I was going to church as a pastor, you know, and ain't no Sabbath rest. Sorry. Sunday was a meeting or some other thing church related. So my Sabbath was Monday.
Yeah. I
Yep.
I stopped doing the whole church meetings on Sunday. I just don't go.
Bruh.
Anymore.
And then the Saturday church meetings?
It's a lot. And it's interesting, right? P, as we get into this, it's interesting because there is a level of the activity that we are doing on our day of rest that can still be considered rest.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, right? Because the healing that Jesus did is right. It is also connected to, he was telling us, as he was intentionally showing up in the temple, as he was intentionally healing people proactively. I think it's about maybe 7 times in the Bible where it says that Jesus proactively went out and healed people. And those points were specifically on the day of rest.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, right? All of the other times it's the other way around. Hey, Jesus, we need you to. The other times he shows up intentionally on a day of rest to relieve somebody. So you better believe that it was not just resting for them, but it was an active rest for Christ himself, right? But
as active,
yeah. So rest doesn't just mean my kind of like my top rest, which is knock me out, like I'm good. Like rest can also be a level of productivity that helps you to feel rejuvenated, and I think that she hits that on a couple of those other
so facets. Let's grab a couple of these. Carmela says for her, defining rest, connecting with God. Ebony, bath in a book, no outside noise.
That's good.
Man, listen, so Ebony says bath in a book. I get it now. Why my parents or my mom would go into the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, where's Bob? She in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, why she still in the bathroom? Because you can't get in there. They get away from you. turn the fan on, get a
Yeah.
chair, sit in the corner, light a candle, have a moment. I 1000% get that as an adult and as a parent. Greg says, rest in peace with your purpose, not fighting against the will of God. Oh, yeah. Oh, we could talk about the restlessness related to that.
Yeah.
And then Hazel says, relaxed foot outstretched, maybe a nap, doing something undisturbed, reading, watching something I like. All right. So I'm going to go into really what prompted us, the work of Sandra Dalton Smith, and her book is Sacred Rest. This is a picture of her, a screen capture from the TED Talk. If you just look up 7 Types of Rest TED Talk or Sandra Dalton Smith TED Talk, you will get it's short. Chris, how long is it?
About 9 minutes.
Okay, about 9 minutes. Yeah, about 9. It's really short. We're gonna pull a couple of quotes from that and then break down the 7 types of rest that she describes in her book. So here's the question. Chris, take the question.
Have you ever tried to fix an ongoing lack of energy by getting more sleep, only to do so and still feel exhausted? Yes. Yes, Sandra. Yeah, if that's you. Oh, okay. You gonna do this one?
No, I'm gonna say, yeah, I got my hands raised too.
Okay. If that's you, here's the secret. Sleep and rest are not the same thing, although many of us incorrectly confuse the two. And we go through life thinking we've rested because we have gotten enough sleep, but in reality, we are missing out on the other types of rest we desperately need. The result is a culture of, get this, guys, high achieving, high producing, chronically tired, and chronically burned out individuals. We're suffering from a rest deficit because we don't understand the true power of rest. Rest should equal, get this, restoration. This is what we're talking about today, guys. 7 key areas of your life.
Bruh, so I'm listening to the TED Talk, right? And she talks about, that the burnout culture that you mentioned earlier, where the guilt. So we went to Williamsburg, Virginia, a couple of weeks ago, and part of me was like guilty. Because I was like, no, I should be doing worship and word, and I should be working on a project, and oh man, this day is cutting into my work week. I needed this Sunday to work to strategize, to do my Sunday strategy, because I got and it's like, wow,
yeah.
Now, we don't want to take away from the fact, from the reality. We don't want to take away from the reality that for some of us, this conversation about rest and what restfulness looks like is related to diet. She doesn't really talk about diet in it. It's related to some mental health counseling that she doesn't really talk about, or other situations you're dealing with in your life that contribute to your lack of rest. So doesn't go into what we read in the articles that we read, but we don't want to overlook some of those things.
Right.
For some of us, it might be a vitamin deficiency or some sort of health issue that's inhibiting our ability to rest. We don't want to overlook or minimize that. We're just talking about it from one particular angle, as she describes in her book. So I know some people are like, yeah, but you don't understand. Hey, we don't want to knock out anything.
Yeah. One size definitely doesn't fit all. As we go through these 7, y'all keep in mind that from the Advent Health, huge, right? Huge organization that talks about this a lot. There's a backronym called creation, and in that backronym, the R in creation stands for rest. So take that R, and now we're gonna blow that out into now 7 different aspects of what that R for rest really is. Because here they explain, sometimes making time means letting go. Making time for rest and relaxation revives the body, reduces stress, and restores the spirit. So even then, of course, that's just a snippet. It's a encapsulation of what rest is all about. But even here, they're talking about body and spirit and mind.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Sandra really starts to nuance that.
She unloads.
Yeah. So he says, yep, I don't get my nails done because I sit there impatiently thinking about things I should be doing. It's stressful for me to sit there. Yeah, hey, yeah, you know, yeah, just yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Type number one.
Yeah, there we go. Number one. The first type of rest we need is physical rest, which can be passive. That's you knocked out, Chris.
Yep.
Or active. And I think for a lot of us, we were talking about really definitions. This is one that we're familiar with, the one that we gravitate towards, the one that we run towards. Oh, I just need to get more sleep.
Yeah.
Coincidentally enough, though, it's growing up as a kid in church, bro, this was frowned upon.
Can we even let's say it. Let's say can we even say the terminology that we use after we ate and what we called it? The itis.
Yeah.
And how we had to cut off, because cut it off. But even that, why would we even call such an activity after having a good meal with
like a disease?
As if it was something that was ignorant to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if
the Sabbath nap. Oh, you don't sleep on the Sabbath.
You don't only do that. Like, let's be.
I don't know. Maybe that's just our context, but listen, you don't sleep on the Sabbath. Well, what am I supposed to do? This church service, we started at 11. It is 2:00, 2:30.
God forbid he showed up for Sabbath.
Right. It was dry. Early morning prayer. I've been here since 8:30.
Bruh.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I need a nap or something. So I haven't had anything to eat. And I'm one of those hangry people. I haven't had anything to eat from 8:30 to 2:30, sometimes 3:00. What do you either I'm gonna go to sleep or I'm getting into a fight. Which one do you want? What do you want from me?
And then you roll into Bible study that happens right before.
Yeah. Are we going?
AYM.
Yeah.
And then we just, Aaron says, yeah, I felt guilty during that time. And I tell myself, you deserve this time to make it okay. Yeah. Was it Psalm 42? David had to say to himself,
yeah, you
have to speak to yourself.
Yeah.
And declare, you deserve it. Active versus passive rest.
Yeah. Let's talk about the dichotomy between the two is, that laying there on the couch or taking a nap in your bed is really a passive form of physical rest. Yeah. And we don't always think, or maybe we do and just don't really want to maybe put that effort in because we feel so tired. The active version, or what are some of the active versions of physical rest?
Stretching,
bruh.
Yoga. I know there's a contention.
Yeah.
For many believers when it comes to that, but for its core functionality, yoga is strategic stretching.
I'll put Pilates. I'll throw Pilates.
Pilates, okay.
Or non-yoga Pilates.
Yeah.
Getting a massage.
Listen. That's active. Yeah.
So in one of the articles, take a walk outside.
That's a good one. And it actually kind of ties into the creative rest, which is what we're gonna talk about later.
So think about, I would love to hear from everyone how it looks for you as it relates to physical rest. Are there active things that you do? Do you stretch? Do you do Pilates? Do you take a walk as an active physical rest versus just laying down and going to sleep and taking a nap? Listen, I had a nap before I got on Worship and Word. It did me right. About 20 minutes. It did me right.
Sari says, and us Generation X parents brought snacks for our kids between Sabbath school and 11 o'clock worship, and baby boomers looked at us like we were crazy, saying y'all didn't have snacks when y'all were growing up. Exactly. That's why my kid gonna have snacks. They're hungry just like we were.
Listen, I don't understand how the grandmas in the church could get away with having candy in their purse.
My grandma used to have
Bring
nips.
candy. It's a crime. They got peppermint, and it wasn't peppermint is for your breath. Nah, grandma's got peppermint. They had butterscotch. Some of
Worthingtons.
They had the
Werther's. I can't even remember.
Werther's original. Some of them had strawberry candy. My granny got that candy in her purse because grandma's sugar low, and she knows she ain't gonna be able to eat to 3 o'clock.
And she knew how to unwrap the joint. She had a skill. She didn't need to open the whole thing. She just open one side and just bloop. Squeeze it that. Here, come take this, baby.
Yeah, bro. Listen, I used to have stacks in my office. It was like a little corner store, right? My office at church, man. It was just everything popping in there. If you'd be surprised, like the people who talk about you shouldn't be eating snacks in church the most would be the people who slide in. Pastor Quinn, can I get a pack of them crackers? Yeah, your sugar too, huh? So yeah, the actor. We took a walk this morning.
Oh, that's what's up.
The walk around our neighborhood this morning. It was really refreshing and relaxing. So
yeah.
They showed it, Aaron. They did have a whole Ziploc of candy. I get in trouble for going to the candy lady on Sabbath. Different. All right. So next type of rest, and if you're just stopping to scroll, we're discussing Dr. Saundra Dalton Smith's TED Talk, more so her TED Talk, because neither Chris and I have read her book.
Yeah. In
her TED Talk, she gives us these 7 types of rest from her book, Sacred Rest. And we've just been discussing those. We talked about physical rest. Let's go to the next one. The second type of rest is mental rest.
Help me, Holy Ghost.
Ooh. Oh, man. Now this one, Chris?
Don't ask me what I think that looks like. It looks like the first one.
Sleep.
Knock me out.
So, this idea of taking mental breaks, and one of the things that she notes in the TED Talk is you might also keep a notepad by the bed to jot down any nagging thoughts that would keep you awake. I think we shared it on Worship and Word before. One of the things that you can do is at the end of the day is take this brain dump. Where you get your journal, you get your notepad, and you just write down everything that's going through your mind before you go to bed. Because your mind is really going a mile a minute. And some of us find ourselves in a place where we're laying down and trying to sleep, but we're thinking about everything so that we don't actually end up getting the mental rest that's supposed to accompany the physical rest because we've just spent 8 hours now in our subconscious thinking about everything. And
I had to stop journaling. I had to stop journaling. It's this year it's a little different. I will journal for milestones now because when I look back, many times it felt as if when I was done, I had more questions than answers. I'd have these reams of, and it was digital for me. So I'm just like going in.
Yeah.
And after a while, I was like, man, I don't like this. So I found a different way.
Yeah.
I got to find different ways. And because for a lot of us, maybe even starting to write it out and then you don't have the answers to what you're writing. And that's the thing. Trying to even form the discipline of what you're even going to write. So now if I'm writing, I specifically am trying to focus on not just dumping, because y'all know, if y'all know how I think, how I talk now, y'all just imagine what's coming downloading straight through. It's a mess. So I have to ask, well, what am I grateful? Like we're talking about this, like the gratefulness, like what are the things that I really do want to talk about? And I now even am not trying, but actually doing where, because a lot of it has already happened before, but I make it more into prayers now. So I'm actually not talking to myself about the philosophies of the things that I am trying to wrestle with, but now I'm connecting God with it, like out the gate.
Yeah.
And that's kind of helped to decompress. But if some of y'all, y'all like me, sometimes journal will just get you more worked up. Don't start there. Maybe you gotta do something else before you.
And I love how you say you gotta adjust and figure out really what works for you. What works for little Aaron is walking around with headphones and listening to music.
I've been doing that more. Music. Yeah, I've actually have subscribed to, I Bit the Bullet, to one of them, streaming joints. And yeah, music has helped a lot.
You bit the bullet?
Yeah, the bullet has been bitten.
I saw a meme today or yesterday. It was like when you in full worship, listening to whatever streaming app, you in full worship, and then the then the commercial comes on. You in full worship,
hands out. Yep.
That's it. For only $49.99. You too. Yeah, I've been there. Frustrated.
Yeah. Cerise says, I got mentally overwhelmed this week. Just a lot of personal and family requirements. I'm even going to add on that too, Cerise, just the vaccine site too. Like that's major as well. Too many apps to juggle, too many appointments to juggle. So all of a sudden, Cerise started canceling her appointments.
Cancel.
That weren't absolutely required. Yeah, that's the prioritization piece right there. Yeah. She says, I just didn't have the mental bandwidth for any extra unnecessary things. Yeah. Calendly has been the best and the worst thing that has happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
because, because now everything, you schedule everything now. And at the same time, I realized, I need to now start blocking. Right. That is just for me. Because if not, my calendar will rule me with people who, you know what I'm saying? And you gotta have, gotta have the balance. Because it's interesting. Yeah, Pete, right now, it's interesting. Because right now, the calendar is only connected to work. Ooh. Where's my mindset? Where's the priority, right? If everything that I'm doing right now is navigated by just the work perspective of how I'm living.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
A good part about this is taking those breaks. So sometimes the break is canceling appointments that don't need to happen. Yeah. Sometimes the break is where moms would go to the bathroom and lock the door. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the break is getting up from, we all just basically answering emails anyway.
Yeah.
Getting up from your desk and taking a deep breath and, walking around, getting out of the space. That mental break, that break from sometimes the head down, sticking into it is we need that. If you do the brain scans, we need to step away from what we're doing and be refreshed. So, man, I wish I had a spot like Carmilla so I could be in the garden all day.
Yeah.
And then using those same hands to play the piano. Yeah.
Let's free somebody. Let's free somebody today. There's certain notifications that don't need to blip on your phone. Listen, Facebook, because y'all remember when I was like, I'm finally back, but I had to. Yeah, so Facebook is on now because remember there was a whole thing for me on there. Like, I'm not gonna have the mobile. It's just so more convenient. I know y'all. I bit the bullet on that too, but you won't see a notification that pops up. I would have to tap into Facebook to see it. Number one. Number two, it's not even on my. Let me not lie. Okay, yeah, it's not even on like the first set.
You got to get to it.
I gotta get to it to see. Oh, I see the badge. Oh, so there's that. Turn off the notifications. It's not that deep. It's I promise you. Advice. Even if it's for work, it's not that deep. Oh, I also do it for my emails too.
Yeah.
And I prioritize like certain people who I just know if an email pops up, it needs to hit my phone. Like my phone needs to let me know if I'm not. But outside of that, those kind of notifications does help you to like muting them also helps you to create those mental breaks, because you'd be so surprised how many times your phone or your computer just vies for your attention.
Yep.
It's pulling for it. There's some people who go extreme. So is it Cal Newton or Cal Newport?
Newport.
So Cal Newport, he has this whole deep work philosophy where, and a lot of people do this, emails in the morning, emails in the evening. I don't know if they do something in the middle, and depending on the work that you do, that might not be practical. Right? You might have to, but there are a lot of people who are like, no, my turnaround for replies for emails is 24 hours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you hit me in the morning and I don't get it. then you'll just and I'm like, wow, that you mean to tell me that I can actually wait to respond to somebody else in maybe 12 to 24 hour. You mean to tell me that I won't be losing business if that's not the case?
Yeah.
It could be. I'm not going to tell you how to, do certain things, but the likelihood that somebody on the other end isn't doing that. And think about it. Think about the last email that you probably sent to somebody who was maybe semi-important. When did you get that email back?
A week later. Oh, sorry.
And when you got it back a week later, were you like, oh man, you know what? I ain't even interested no more.
No, I was hyped.
Yeah.
I was hyped.
Yeah. Because they are also guarding their time. Well, maybe they can't keep up just like us. But the point is.
Oh, speaking of guarding time, Chris, man, I told you with the assistant piece. Man,
yeah.
So many people just over the past couple of years are paying more attention to it. I'll be like, yo, let's connect and talk about this project. And they'll say, yeah, you need to send a message to my assistant. Like they've learned to, because they're going to make a promise that, nope, I don't even book anything from my calendar.
Yeah.
Because I need that break. And sometimes we need that mental break, and certain apps like calendar apps is that assistant for you. Yeah. Some of us are just giving too many people too much of our time whenever they feel like it. And I noticed, man, when I start telling people, oh, you want to talk, let's schedule an appointment, a lot of that energy and noise started to come down to guard the time better. Yeah. And turn off half of 80-90% of your notifications you can turn off, which leads us to our next version of rest. Now let's do the setup. Let's frame this out. Some of us, we recognize we're not getting physical rest.
Right.
Some of us are, but some of us are not. And it's like, oh, I'm getting physical rest. Why am I still tired? Well, maybe it's because you're not getting mental rest. You're not taking breaks. You're not unplugging. You're not getting up from your space.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because you're not getting sensory.
That's good. Yep.
And I think a lot of us struggle with this one: bright lights, computer screens, background noise, multiple conversations, Zoom in the office. We literally have sensory overload.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it's just coming at us 24/7, and we got to be real careful to block it. Now, the challenge is going back to the app, Chris. Y'all gotta understand that there are PhDs who work on this.
Yeah. Come on.
Your phone is designed. The apps are designed to keep you on the app. That's why your phone will send you a notification today about something that happened a week ago, just to pull you back to it and keep you engaged on the app. And there's a dopamine injection that happens because once you click on a notification or respond, you feel a sense of accomplishment. It's like a video game, the way that they program it. Yeah. So when we're like, take a sensory break, part of your brain is like, no, but I need that. Like, and they design it that way. And it's like a drug dealer.
Yeah. Listen, one of the, sensory also deals with, let's get a little bit more detailed right now, just as an example, colors. You go on the news, if ever there's a breaking news alert, it's in red. Look on your badges right now. The badges is the notification that counts. It's like the counter over your app that tells you how many notifications you have. So there's the badge, then there's the banner that peaks from the bottom of most of your phones, and then it goes back up or goes away unless you swipe it. The badge color on your apps is red.
I have 520 unread text messages.
Oh, that's like I'm in inbox zero. I would shut down. But when I look right now, my email count says 711. That means that my life is not in order. And I got that much, and I have it cleared. I just said I ain't looking at nothing. What that is? Well, you know what, Pete? That could also mean not that my life is in order, but I'm prioritizing what is actually important to read. Too. But however, take a look at your counter. Like your badge counter, the notifications, the color oftentimes is also going to indicate for you what's urgent.
Yeah.
So whether if it's online, whether if it's on television or even on your phone, oftentimes when we're talking about sensory, it's not just the content, but it's the literal visuals as well that is showing up for you to subconsciously say, oh, this is important. Oh, wait, this is important. Oh, wait, this is important. That's how come the type of notifications that you get based on the vibrations also makes it different. Most text message notifications is a double buzz. Most times.
You better give them that UX, UI.
Listen, man. Like emails and others might be a single or like a little longer. You know what I had to do? P, you know what I had to do with mine? I had to now intentionally change the tone, the default tone on not just my alarms, but also my phone. I wanted to sound more calm when somebody calls me. It doesn't need to sound like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Alert. No, why? Why? It's now it's now a tone where when it goes off, I say, oh, should I or shan't I? To be or not to be? That is a question. You do not own me, telephone.
Yeah.
I am the master. So anyway, that being said, y'all, sensory is all of the nuance. It's the nuances. Pierre said it. There are people that have degrees that sit down and try to figure out how do we even just subconsciously engage it with your sensories, and not just sight, also smell, touch, taste, and all of that, to be able to keep you on
for long.
Just keep you on alert for the next thing.
So something that we did when we got married, Chris.
Yeah.
My wife was like, yo, like I love TV, I love movies. She loves TV, she loves movies. And I was like, that's cool. But we not gonna have no TV in the bedroom.
That's major. It's major.
Like we thought about that for a couple. I was like, nah, ain't gonna be no TV in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And part of it was because I grew up with a television in my bedroom, and I know what restlessness feels like because the TV has been on all night.
Yeah.
And my brain has been processing. You ever had that feeling of waking up and something crazy is on TV? Like you wake up out of your sleep and something just
like what?
You gotta get yourself together and turn it off. It's either that or like Time Life music collection at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Or static, hoping that the ring ghost don't come out of it or something.
The idea of the sensory overload, that's why when you sleep, you should sleep far away from your phone, having it face down, because when you get the notification, the light turns on, the light disturbs the stillness, the television disturbs the stillness, having it as dark as possible.
Yeah.
And I know some of y'all pitch black dark ain't gonna work for y'all, but having it as dark as possible, actually it allows you to embrace and calm down and be in the stillness. So for a lot of us, we can't get a chance sensory and from our senses to allow our senses to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And Cerise, I'm praying for your email.
Listen, I saw she said 33,000 unread. They got apps. They got apps to just go ahead and just clean that out.
Yeah.
You can't, especially if it's Gmail, you be clicking on pages for days, like select all, next page, select
just click on promotions, hit delete all. You'll probably delete about 27,000.
Just go ahead and delete your whole email account. just go, throw the whole thing away. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Hazel
said, "Well, I cannot exist without TV in the bedroom." Yeah. So I guess wrestling with why that's the case.
Yeah.
And sometimes, Hazel, for me, the challenge is there's no TV in my bedroom. But how many times have I fallen asleep in front of the TV in my living room?
Yeah.
Because I knew I was tired, but I knew if I got up and went to my bedroom, there's no TV there.
Right.
So I'm gonna stay here because I really kind of want to watch something, and I fall asleep, and the TV is on, and it messes up my whole sleep cycle, and it's a whole problem. Or maybe you have like a super subconscious lock box where it doesn't impact you. But I know it's different styles for different people. Ebony says, "Unroll Me is the app. Get your life together."
And if you have an iPhone, Cerise, just type in Inbox Zero. It'll probably take you to like a page. Let me see. This one is called Achieve Inbox Zero, and they'll give you a list of email clients that you can use in replacement of the default one that you probably have. Most of them are designed to help you to manage it a little bit better, so that you can like select things. And like Pierre was saying, with Gmail, you can change the settings. So all of your social stuff and subscription newsletter stuff goes into just one thing that you don't even have to see if you don't want to. And all of the important things, just got to be careful with that as well. Cause sometimes things get,
get caught up.
Yeah. And so you got to just make sure that you check every now and again. But yo, P, what's the next one? I'm trying to think of. Okay. Yes. This is the one. This is the one. The fourth type of rest is creative rest, y'all. I think this is probably the most extensive one as well. And let me give me one second, P. So I know that it's here where, and I'm one of the articles that we were looking at talks about being in nature. And they say that being in nature evokes wonder and inspiration. And so the two things that are crucial for creativity, which Dr. Dalton Smith talks about, is those two things. One, this is interesting. Wonder, your mind, and even though it's like wonder here, but also think of just like wander. Like your mind needs to have the room to just meander, to just kind of waltz, to daydream, which then also ties into inspiration, where there are things that may externally happen that causes you to now think of ideas and just new things. And so, some people also get those benefits from going to an art museum. So it's not just with nature. Listening to a symphony, we talked about music earlier, watching a theater performance. So it's interesting because oftentimes, and P, I know you got more info, so I want to hear what you have to say, because the idea that she's got to be a believer. She's talking about sacred rest. She got to be. Because to go out into nature and to experience what the Creator has created is what will engage. Right? It'll activate your creative rest simply just by going out. I think in this past year, I have been exposed to more artificial light than God's natural light. That's got to shift. That has to shift, right? Because even that itself, just going out and absorbing that, getting the vitamin D, and just sitting out in the backyard. Now, I'm blessed to still, be in a place where there's a backyard. To New York City, wasn't no backyards, but
no yards either.
Front yards either. There's no yard. It was a stoop, right? But the thing is, even then, if you look hard enough, we ain't gonna go there. To be able to experience what God has already mapped out and painted and created, and to absorb that, and allowing your mind to just even think about, I wonder why, I wonder why that happens. And that's the easiest way, but that's not the only way. Nature is not the only way. I think it's the prime or primal. It's the most native. But there are other ways that your brain fires off synapses to engage in wonderment and inspiration.
Yeah, so a lot of, for those of us who live in places that are rented, say you live in an apartment or you're renting your home, we may think this a bit of a stretch versus people who own their home. But this idea of how do you bring color and inspiration into your workspaces? Because a lot of us, these beige walls. Now, if you look for a lot of us in the contract, in your rental contract, there is a stipulation that says you can repaint a wall as long as you paint it back to its original color before you move out. So in some of our workspaces, the whole idea in interior design of the accent wall. Why is the accent wall so important? Is because it literally breaks up the monotony of a space. So for some of us, we need to paint a multicolored wall in our space so that we have this kind of creative spark instead of looking, you know, when you go to the doctor's office or the dentist or some of these places, or even, you know, God forbid, some schools, libraries, and you see now they're shifting design because they don't want it to seem, for lack of a better word, sterile when you go in there.
Yeah.
So when you look around your spaces, your home, and this was when my wife did the whole back deck section with, I mean, we got outdoor pillows and different colored chairs and all these plants. It feels like a totally different space. And it's more relaxing, more tuned with nature, just a different view because it's set up differently. And as you look around your home, your room, your place where you do your work, even if you go to an office, how can you shift some things in that space to feel more creative and connected instead of like the drab cubicle that sometimes we have to work in?
Yeah. I love Hazel's suggestion, or hang colorful, interesting paintings. You know, so P, I actually would have to be more intentional on doing that. My first thought is not to create an accent wall. I'm such a minimalist. It's not even funny. And it's interesting because I think part of the philosophy behind that is still in my mind. It's I don't want to say dangerous, but it's just my mindset is, but when I get my space, I'll do it. But how often? Like when I was in school, when we were in Andrews, I wasn't. Now, obviously, you can't really do. You can only do it for so much, especially if you have a roommate. But let's get. Remember when we had, what was it, like the open house experiences? And some people, like, their room was lit, like it was just my room. Even when I was like solo, it was never. It was sterile, bro. Yeah, like there was no posters in color. I don't know, maybe because the posters of colors into my head. I don't know. But I find it interesting because as much as people will say, "Man, you're so creative," on the outside, you would just think that I was just some regular, because my space doesn't say that. You feel me? Like you will walk in my space and be like, "Oh," you know. So I think that for a lot of us, Aaron says pops of colors, flowers, pillows, art, etc., can help even without the accent wall. Absolutely, absolutely. Even just changing the bedspread, design, like
that's true.
I'm so minimalist, man. It's not even funny. So when I think about this, it's like there are certain kinds of rest that I will have to like be so intentional about, without it feeling uncomfortable, because then if it's uncomfortable, it wouldn't be rest.
Yeah.
But there's a difference, I think, between stretching yourself to do something different and then it just feeling like, that's not me. And finding that balance of like, okay, how can you do something different that you've never done before that could add, you know, an element to your rest versus just doing something just out of your element altogether and just like, I don't like looking at this ugly poster on my or this, you know, like whatever it is. So
and I think it goes to, like we were saying before, you got to figure out what works best for you and for your context.
Absolutely.
So for some people, it's a colorful painting. For some people, it's flowers or pillows or candles.
Yeah.
For some people, it's being outside. You know, for Carmilla, it's being in the garden. You know, taking a walk. Art museum, listening to music. All of these are different things to experience, but they all fall under the category in some form or fashion of experiencing creative rest. And I think about the weeks that I've been the most tired. Has there been any creative rest?
Yeah.
So
it's almost an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Because creative means to do something.
Right. Your whole life. Area work to change your whole.
You're right.
Situation.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think because we have defined rest as
dormancy,
not doing anything.
Yep.
Right. So this idea of active rest, Nah, I don't know if I believe in that, but it's a thing.
Yeah,
it's a thing. It's probably a reason why when you do Sabbath outreach activity that you're walking, you thought that it was only because you were passing out the tract. No, it was the fact that you were passing out the tract. You were walking outside, breathing fresh air,
right,
having conversation.
Yeah,
that all contributed to this rejuvenation that you were feeling, and you ain't even know about it.
I think that leads to the fifth type. Actually, I think.
Does it?
It might.
Does it?
Is the fifth type social?
Nah, that's we gonna come to that. We gonna do emotional rest. We got a couple more to go. Emotional rest. Now, this one, Chris, man, I'll be honest. I'll be honest. Having the time and space to freely express yourself and cut back on people pleasing. Are we really resting, y'all? Emotional rest also requires the courage to be authentic.
Yeah.
An emotionally rested person can answer the question. This is why we do this every week, right? How are you today? With a truthful, I'm not okay. And then go on to share hard things that otherwise go unsaid. Like we've been practicing this for months and we didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Freedom to be able to say, man, this week, man, I was not hitting on all cylinders. And not to have to feel like I have to make
put
this
on a
picture for you.
Yeah. Like you gotta put on a face.
Yeah. Now, if we could get to the place where we were actually doing our check-in at the beach, that would be worship and word on the beach coming soon, y'all. Coming soon. Maybe 2022, but it's coming soon.
Grab my laptop and my face mask right quick.
Right.
Yeah. Emotional is major. I think that especially now, and I'm glad to set the other one is social because they really are, and I think she says that's those two kind of connect. They kind of go hand in hand. It's so interesting how she I don't think it's with her, but the article that we both read also says how to use a wheel of emotions. It's just like, wow, like, all right.
Yeah.
So what does it look like to be emotionally restful? Here's what it doesn't look like. It doesn't look like you dumping your negative or your anxiety or the bag on somebody else to hold. That's not rest. It's more so kind of sabotage, really. That's why there are therapists. That's why there are counselors, people who you can do that with. I'm not saying you can't do that with friends, but y'all know the people who consistently do that, right? Because if you continue to have the what would we call them, the Debbie Downers and the negative Nicholases who just and Dr. Sandra talks about this. If you continue to be around the individuals who are continuing to dump their bag of emotions, it's just messy and complex and just bewildering, then you adopt the same behavior.
Yeah. You know what that name.
Yeah. This year and even last year, one of the buzzwords in relationships has been toxicity, right? Being toxic, but it happens in different ways. It's not just, oftentimes we see it in just like intimate relationships, right? But it's even friends. One of the ways that you become emotionally restful is by the same way with your physical rest. You close your eyes and you do your best to think about anything besides the stuff of the day that's going to keep you up. You should have that same kind of physical rest in its emotional embodiment. You should have people around you where you're not always have to figure out like, how can I help them? How can I make them feel better? How can I? Now, I'm not saying, and I'll stick with me here. I'm not saying that that's not what yes, that's what we are designed to do. And even the word talks about bearing each other's burdens. But hold up, Jesus also says, take up your own cross. Balance. So if you're continuing having to bear somebody else's, it just might be restful for you to either limit communication or contact.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And or, because you know what that ties into, Pierre, that we talked about last month? Starts with a B. Boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional rest requires you to exercise proper boundaries in relationships.
And for Carmilla, it's avoiding the office drama.
Yeah.
That's her boundary.
Yeah.
So
most of this emotional rest, guys, is probably, and that's how come the next one is social. It's connected with other people.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't say most, but a lot of it really is not just how you feel, but how you express how you're feeling in authenticity or not to other people, not just yourself, but to other people. And once you feel like you can't do that, then you are restless.
You get depressed because you don't. It's like don't nobody even know me or what I'm or what I'm going through. And I think that's when we go back to. We scroll back, to Dr. Holly's comment, these dates now are important for her. 19 years since the passing of her mother, that she recalls every time the calendar turns to these dates.
Wow.
And the recurring feelings of meh on those days, and having a space where you can say, man, this is what's going on. This is what is connected to death of a parent.
Yeah.
Almost 20 years, and can I be in a space where a person is not trying to tell me I need to get over that or get past it, but I have the freedom to share it and find some comfort and solidarity in that. So
That's so good. That's so good. I think we talked about that. I think last year. There are apps that help you to track how you feel. Track how you feel. Elise says boundaries are beautiful. Yeah, yes they are.
Yeah,
yes they are. And you know what?
That door.
Hey, listen. So, the next one.
Yep.
It just ties in so well.
Yeah.
The sixth type of rest is social rest. I love the background image. Kudos, Pierre. Great. Shout
out to Tampa.
Hey, listen. I know. Listen. Yes, they make it easy, but you chose it. And I love this, man. I love this for a few reasons. One of the reasons is because a lot of our relationships right now are virtual.
Yeah.
And we can't deny the fact, we can't avoid that, especially for those of us in a work from home culture, that you are developing. If you haven't already, you are developing a lot of your close relationships through a screen interface.
Yeah.
So you have to take that into consideration when it comes down to what social rest looks like. Pete, let us know a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, Dr. Sandra says if you're in need of emotional rest, you probably have a social rest deficit too. This occurs when we fail to differentiate between those relationships that revive us from those that exhaust us. Yeah. To experience more social rest, and Chris, you explained this earlier for us, surround yourself with positive and supportive people. Even if your interactions have to occur virtually. Now, I know this is going to be controversial for some people. Yeah. Even if your interactions have to occur virtually, you can choose to engage more fully in them by turning on your camera and focusing on who you're speaking to.
So yeah, go ahead.
So the tension, right? Of realizing, and I see this from my daughters who are in school, the whole virtual thing is, let's go 6 months, 8 months ago, we were talking about, man, people are in different situations and we can't just turn on the camera. We don't know what they're dealing with. Their background is set up. Everyone doesn't have lights and all of that. At what point, man, at what point does it shift? And not for kids as much as, for us as adults.
Yeah.
I have to work in this space. When do I begin to transform the space? Because I have to work here, so I can feel comfortable turning on my camera and engaging. And I know there's some tension. I know personality styles and all of that, and emotions are in that, but the tension of, man, everybody shouldn't have to turn on their camera.
Yeah.
Versus, well, how do we make this space more inviting? And maybe I'm just coming off the idea that I had to speak for a church a couple of weeks ago on Zoom, and nobody had their camera on.
How does that make you feel?
It was, I was like, part of me was like, okay, like we could have recorded this joint. Like it's not like it's a live stream, it's a Zoom call. So it's, 30, 40 of us in here in this space. I mean, closer to 30 in this space, and nobody is like me and the pastor and the pastor's wife. Our 3 cameras are on. We're basically looking at each other, but nobody else in the space. I'm like, man, how do we navigate this? It's messy, right? Like you were saying before, it's messy because some people don't feel comfortable, or they don't want you to see in their space, or it's a lot. But how do we be proactive about engaging relationships that happen in a virtual construct while at the same time keeping the boundaries? Because you see a curtain, you don't see my house. You see this curtain, and this is the way I set it up. So you're not looking into my living room.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have that. Everybody doesn't have that option.
That's right. You see my backdrop. You don't see the if only you know. Right. Hey, listen, and there are individuals. So, and Elise is one of them individuals, homegirl of mine. She actually created for a lot of people, if we talk about creative rest, and I want to give her a shout out because there are people who have built businesses during this time, and hers is centered, it's around self-care, which is interesting. So y'all go check it out. Yeah, I'm doing a little free promo.
Drop the link in the comments.
Yeah, if you're still there, at least 17thbliss.com. Like it's something where there are people who during this time and in this space, one of the best things that you can do for yourself, and we talked about what Jesus did on the Sabbath, is create services, products, or spaces for other people to rest. Because some of y'all are designed by seeing other people at rest or at peace, you're at peace. Now, doesn't mean that you now need that for yourself. And that's why a lot of what deals with the emotional, with the people pleasing, right? There's the other side to that coin is you're so engrossed in making sure everybody else is fine.
Yeah.
That when you're gone, and Dr. Sandra talks about this, right? When you're now by yourself, even though you were able to put up the front and making sure that everybody else had the peace of mind, everybody else had the rest that they needed, you feel behind closed doors that you've been taken for granted. That nobody really cares about your needs. And so that's when now this emotional, restlessness turns into maybe regret, bitterness. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because you have individuals, and she's one of them who decided, what better time, especially during the pandemic, right? To create a space where there are other people who, would need or products, who would need to be able to take care of themselves. So just want to say that for some of you, the thing to do is by creating a thing that also helps you to connect with other people. So we did talk about virtual, but there are other ways. There are other ways to get and to connect with people in a social platform. So for some, it might be a business.
Yep.
Others, it might be virtual, like what we're doing right now. For others, it very well might be just in your home. So
we might need to have like a paint party, a virtual paint party, a worship and word virtual paint party.
That might be
like a Sabbath afternoon joint.
That might be tight.
like
that might be tight.
creative rest.
That might
like,
be tight.
Yeah.
My church did one of those for the AOI once. I think it was last year, and it was cool. It was cool. Actually, I had to find some stuff. I didn't even have paint. I think I had chalk. So I was just using chalk.
Yeah, Dollar Tree, man.
You know, so
yeah. I think that would be
cool.
A good, a creative rest, a community space.
Yeah,
for us to get together. So,
you know what? Because that is actually even challenging us.
Yeah.
Of implementing in this virtual space what that looks like for ourselves as we continue to grow together as a community. Woo, you done plucked the nerve.
All right. So I think it's cool that we're at the last one here. I wonder why she set it up like this. I ain't saying nothing, but
last but not least, Dr.
I'm just saying, why the good doctor set it up like this?
The seventh type. Yes. It's spiritual rest, y'all. Spiritual rest.
The feeling that you are a part of something bigger, as well as a sense of belonging and a sense of fitting in. And I know in the TED Talk, she talks about praying.
Yeah.
She talks about, finding a community to be a part of, connecting with people as part of your daily routine, meditating, all of those things as a way of finding that spiritual rest. And it's just so interesting, man, for people who don't even consider themselves to be spiritual or religious. And I know Dr. Sandra is, like, she's a believer. But for people who don't consider themselves to be spiritual or religious, we all still have this deep longing to be connected to other people. And that's why so many people go. Yeah, I'm going to say it. That's why so many people go hard for social causes. Part of it is they're attempting to use the social cause to fulfill the need to be a part of something that is greater than themselves.
Yeah.
That's why when we're, as believers, our fight for social causes is driven by our relationship with God. The whole Micah jump off that God has shown us what to do. And ultimately, though, God is the foundation. He is the uncaused cause that keeps us all together. But there is no amount of philanthropic, humanitarian, community relation efforts that can fill the need to be a part of something greater than yourself. And for me, that is a connection with God that drives everything else. And unless we're engaging in our spiritual rest, in our prayer and meditative practices on scripture, and even conversations like this where we're together, we'll go through a week. We could sleep all night, but still not be rested.
Listen here. And this has challenged me to expand my my understanding of what real rest is about. It's multifaceted, y'all.
Yeah.
It's multifaceted. It's not there's a link for self-care products that Elise is a co-founder of. Listen, it really is something that is not linear.
Yeah, it's not.
Rest is not if I can just get the 8 hours, I'm good.
Or, come on, y'all, let's be completely honest. If I could just shut down work on Friday. Looking at this clearly, if we have not integrated, if we have not integrated these principles into our week and our daily practices, you're not getting no Sabbath rest. It's not happening.
Okay, Pete, question. So, is a true Sabbath rest being able to take all 7 elements and integrating them on the 7th day in a holistic manner that allows me to fully feel? I don't know.
See? Okay, see? He's about to shut down. Now you back up, right? I realized, Chris, and you reminded me of this. That's why I like going camping.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, camping is integration of all 7.
Yeah.
When I go camping, there's this active physical rest that I'm embarking in. There's this mental rest because I have a break from my normal schedule. There's the sensory rest. I'm out in nature. I'm not in front of devices, and there's natural light. There's the creative rest because I'm out in nature.
Yep.
There is the emotional rest because I'm usually with friends and family, and we've been together. We sharing stories and talking about our journey, and it's a safe space. Yep. It's the social rest because I'm around people who are positive and who are affirming, and it's the spiritual rest because I feel a connection to God being out in nature. I get all 7 when I go camping.
Yeah.
I only go camping like once a year. How can I get all 7 of these? Is it on the Sabbath? How can I get all 7 of these on a weekend? I think it would call for a restructuring of how we do this thing.
Yeah.
Because it is possible. Yeah. Matter of fact, I think there are times we've had special weekends or special Sabbaths outside of the norm where maybe unintentionally we've stumbled upon a combination that integrated all 7 types of rest and we didn't even know it. And for many of us, that was one of the best weekends or best Sabbaths we've had. And then next week we go back to saying we rest, but working more on Saturday than during the week.
Hebrews 4 verse 3, P. For only we who believe can enter his rest.
Yeah.
As for the others, God said, in my anger, I took an oath, they will never enter into my place of rest, even though this rest has been ready since he made the world. Y'all, this is not some science that has been developed. God has designed these 7 elements. And and there's probably more that will be unlocked in eternity.
Yeah.
But he has designed rest to happen since he created the world's creation had rest as a part of this whole thing. And not only that, it's a bookend.
Yeah.
Happened in the beginning. And he says, you will enter. If you're a believer, if you're with me, you will have my place. Now, listen, I don't even know what that means, P. Like, what is that place of rest? Like,
yeah.
But what I do know is that God is the one who has designed it, y'all. He designed it.
Yep.
From the beginning. That's awesome.
I know we're getting ready to some of us are getting ready to go back into the church building. Maybe y'all need to leave board meeting online. Maybe y'all need to leave board meeting online.
I'll go ahead and save that Zoom link.
Keep the whole Sunday. You got to get up. You got to drive there. You got
me messed up.
Leave, even when church goes back to in person, leave that board meeting online, y'all.
You got me messed up.
It ain't that deep.
Because most of y'all churches ain't down the street. Let's be real.
Come on. Yeah, it's 40. Let's do
physical
recap, man.
Yeah, so we've got the 7 types of rests, and the first one, you can't think of Maslow's hierarchy. Listen, you can't even appreciate.
That's so good. That's so
right.
Good.
Right. She starts with the first, and the self-actualization at the top is the spiritual. Oh, this is so. I
didn't even notice that before.
I didn't even notice it until just now when you put the list. Up. Listen, y'all. 7 types of rest. The first one, the most important one, and of course, they are all integrated. But you can't experience or appreciate any of the others, if you don't have the first, which is physical. Physical rest is first, y'all. The next is mental, being able to create a place in your mind that I don't even know what to call it, but it's your happy place. It's the place of peace. Yeah. Yes, and it's connected to the sensory, right? Now, sensory obviously isn't just for your mental, right? It is everything, what you feel, what you taste, what you hear, what you touch, what you smell. And so sensory is rest number 3. Number 4, love it, because it's even in the middle. It's your creative rest. This is like the most active of the rest, where you experience nature. And it's also what's unlocking not just nature, but also creative activities that include you actually producing something, which helps to activate both wonderment and inspiration. And then we have number 5, your emotional rest. Number 6 is your social rest. And number 7, all encompassing.
Yep.
Is your spiritual rest. If you guys just zoom out and realize that there is a God, there is a designer who has created this thing.
Yeah. Man.
He says that my yoke is easy.
Yeah.
He wants y'all. He wants us to just experience. Yeah. Hebrews 4:3 when y'all get a chance. Check that out again. Yeah, God is a God of rest. Yeah, he's a God of order. He's also a God of rest.
Man, listen.
Right.
Yeah. So just to recap, if you go to Google, you put in 7 types of rest or Sandra Dalton Smith, MD, you'll get her TED Talk. It's about 9 minutes. We watched that, read a couple of articles based on that TED Talk. Have not read her book, Sacred Rest, but the interesting thing is I know somebody who's read the book based on an app, because when I looked it up on the app, it showed me all my Facebook friends and the ones who had read this book and recommended it. So yeah, get some rest, man. So when you say to people, you need to get some rest, you need to get some rest, make sure you know what type of rest you're talking about. And make sure you're getting that type of rest yourself.
So 2 things. First of all, today we're not gonna say go pray, we're gonna say go rest. All right, y'all. We're gonna
say go rest.
When we sign out, we're gonna be like, go rest. But secondly, telling people the kind of rest that they need.
Yep.
It challenges them as well to think about what's happening in my own life that's really causing anxiety, restlessness, depression. What is it specifically? Because if you just say, sometimes some of y'all don't need a nap.
Yeah. It ain't that.
Some of y'all need to create something and release it into the world.
Come on.
I'm gonna stop because then we go reopen it again. But yeah, y'all go nap too. But yeah.
Yeah. So normally we would say go pray, right? Normally we say go pray, but we realize in the context of the conversation that we have been having today that going to pray is a part of spiritual rest. So we're just gonna say go rest.
Go rest.